There is something specific that gets revealed about a person when they shrug at their own birthday. Not something broken. Not something missing. Something real, a particular relationship with themselves that most people spend their entire lives chasing. And yet somehow, the people who have it get treated like the strange ones. Their friends worry, their family pushes. Society looks at the quiet, unbothered person on their birthday and asks, "What's wrong with you?" Psychologists have actually studied this, and what they found says far more about the people doing the judging than the person being judged. Someone asks what you're doing for your birthday. You say nothing, it's just another day. And suddenly you're the weird one, the difficult one, the one who needs to be fixed or talked into caring about a calendar date. But there isn't one answer to why someone stops expecting things from their birthday. There are three, and which one is yours changes everything about what it means. The first group is the one nobody wants to talk about. These are the people who didn't choose indifference, they were trained into it. In 1967, psychologist Martin Seligman discovered something that permanently changed how we understand the human response to repeated disappointment. He called it learned helplessness. When a person experiences the same painful outcome over and over with no ability to change it, the brain doesn't keep trying indefinitely. It stops, not because the person is weak, because the brain is efficient. It recognizes a losing pattern and redirects its energy elsewhere. Birthdays, it turns out, are almost perfectly designed to trigger this response. Neuroscientists Schultz, Dayan, and Montague showed that your dopamine system doesn't simply respond to pleasure, it responds to the gap between what you predicted and what you actually received. The bigger the gap, the bigger the crash. And if you grew up expecting the party, expecting your friends to remember, expecting to feel special, and year after year, what arrived was something smaller and quieter than what you imagined. Your brain eventually did the math. It stopped predicting the reward. It stopped releasing the dopamine. And 1 year, without dramatic announcement, you simply stopped caring. Not because you didn't want to, because your brain decided, with complete logic, that hoping hurts more than forgetting. Picture this. You're 8 years old. You've been counting down for weeks. You told everyone at school. You imagine the balloons, the cake, the exact moment when everyone gathers in one place just for you. And then the day comes, and it's quiet. Maybe the people you hoped would show up didn't. Maybe someone forgot. Maybe the whole thing just felt smaller than the version you'd been building in your head all year. You didn't cry about it, not where anyone could see you. You just quietly adjusted your expectations. The next year, you expected a little less. The year after that, a little less again. Researchers at Johns Hopkins found that the brain doesn't just store painful dates as memories. It relives the emotion attached to them every single year, a phenomenon called the anniversary effect. Your calendar moves on. Your brain doesn't. That 8-year-old is still in there, somewhere, having quietly learned that hoping is a form of risk. So, when someone says it's just another day, hear what's actually being said. That sentence wasn't born from apathy. It was built from scar tissue. And the fact that they can say it calmly, without bitterness, without explanation, that's not coldness. That's armor, carefully, quietly, constructed. And if you're watching this right now, you probably recognize something strange about what you just read. You see yourself in it, but part of you still feels like it shouldn't be about you. If this is landing somewhere, if you're recognizing something you've felt but never had words for, take a moment to like this video. It helps more people find this conversation. And if understanding the hidden psychology behind the way people are is something you want to keep exploring, subscribe. This is exactly what we do here. The second group is different. These are the people who genuinely forgot their birthday, not from pain, but because their brain is running 17 tabs at once. Psychologists call this time blindness, and it's more common than most people realize. When you're deep in a project, a deadline, a life that demands every available unit of attention, dates dissolve. The birthday gets filed under not urgent somewhere near the dentist appointment that's been rescheduled 4 times, and the to-do list that has become, essentially, a novel. These people aren't avoiding their birthday. They're not suppressing anything. They simply care about so many things that one day slips through. And there's something quietly admirable about a life full enough that even your own birth date can't compete for space. Then there's the third group. And this one is the most interesting of all. These are the people who didn't forget, who isn't carrying old hurt, who looked at the entire architecture of birthday celebration, the fuss, the attention, the ritual gathering and said, genuinely, simply, I'm good, not cold, not lonely, not performing detachment to seem above it all, just actually fine. Psychologists Richard Ryan and Edward Deci spent decades studying what they called self-determination theory, and one of their most consistent findings was this. The most psychologically grounded people are those whose sense of well-being comes from the inside out, not from external events, not from social rituals, and definitely not from a song they never asked 30 people to sing at them in a restaurant. These are people who understood, somewhere along the way, what researcher Philip Brickman identified as the hedonic treadmill, that cycle where you chase the next milestone, the next celebration, the next external confirmation that you matter, and it never quite delivers what you needed. They stepped off that treadmill. They stopped outsourcing their joy. While everyone else is holding out for one day a year to feel special, these people quietly figured out how to feel whole on a random Tuesday. That is not a small thing. That is, in many ways, the entire goal. And here's what makes it complicated. When you don't need a birthday to feel valued, it unsettles the people around you. It challenges the assumption that everyone needs the same things. That celebration is universal. That wanting the attention is the baseline, and not wanting it is the deviation. People in this group have already answered the question everyone else is still asking. They don't need a calendar to remind them they matter. They don't need 30 people singing off-key to feel loved. They already know. But here is where honesty requires a harder question. Not everyone who skips their birthday is doing it from a place of wholeness. Psychologist Jennifer Crocker, at the University of Michigan, studied what she called contingencies of self-worth, the conditions people attach to feeling acceptable, worthy, seen. And she found that some people disconnect from celebrations not because they're free, but because they're afraid. Afraid that if they let themselves really want it, and it doesn't happen the way they hoped, it will confirm something they already quietly suspect about themselves. So they opt out, not from confidence, from protection. There is a meaningful difference between the person who genuinely doesn't need the party and the person who wants it desperately, but has decided in advance that wanting is too dangerous. The question is one only you can answer. Is it freedom, or is it fear? The fact that you're sitting with that question honestly already tells you something about yourself. Maybe we've been measuring this wrong all along. We were taught that celebration equals caring, that if you don't make a fuss about your birthday, something inside you has gone quiet in a way it shouldn't. But what if the truest form of self-knowledge isn't throwing a party? It's not needed. Maybe someone watching this spent their last birthday alone, not because no one cared, but because the silence finally felt like enough. If that's you, you are not broken. You belong to a quiet group of people who don't need permission to feel whole. But just in case anyone ever forgot to say it, here it is. Nothing was ever wrong with you. Have you ever spent a birthday completely alone and felt surprised by how peaceful it was? Leave it in the comments. You might not be as alone in that as you think. Thank you for watching.